First of all, thank everyone that's joining. Really appreciate your time and everyone that's going to watch this in the future. I know time is valuable, so I really appreciate it. And I'm not going to try to take up too much of your time, but once again, just thank you, and thank you, Marvin, for that introduction. And I'm just grateful for this opportunity to be here. So, as you know, my name is Paul Perkins. I'm the founder and CEO of the Orion Electronics Company. We're a global hardware and IoT company that was founded in Beijing, China, and headquartered in Cincinnati, Ohio. Me myself, I'm actually from the inner east side of Columbus, Ohio, but I grew up as an adult, I would say, in Cincinnati, and I graduated from the University of Cincinnati in 2015, and then I was just recently a virtual design coordinator for Turner Construction last year. I decided to leave Turner to focus completely on Orion, but that's really been my focus for the past 7 years. So initially, our first product was a eco-friendly smartphone for India, but we decided to pivot to focus on a different arm of our ecosystem that I'm going to get into a little bit more, and specifically on rideshare and micromobility here in the United States. So just a quick overview of some of my other founders. So Sidney Mwemba, he's a Zambian who's based in Beijing. He's recently just got his MBA from the Beijing University of Technology, which is where we met. Colin Curry, me and Colin are fraternity brothers at the Sigma Pi fraternity. He also graduated from DAP for industrial design, and he's head of our design. He's currently head of design for the Jack Mason watch brand. Just really intelligent guy and a more incredible designer. And then Pius Godose, he's a Ghanaian, and he also graduated from the Beijing University of Technology. He's our CTO, and he has a PhD in machine learning. And so really a global team of guys and individuals, and not pictured here or referenced is our group of advisors. So we have about 5 advisors from all around the country and the world that have worked for some of the top corporations and companies, from P&G to Kodak to Samsung, and et cetera. So really an esteemed group of individuals, and I know, once we're given the opportunity to empower ourselves, that we will continue to do great things in this world. So I'm honestly always amazed, that this is my team and my founder group. So what is Orion about? So we have this vision. I don't know if you can see this at the top. If I can hide the so the Internet of Us is the vision that we have for Orion, and very simply, it's our vision to use mobile technology and sustainable thinking to create products, consumer products that can actually solve a real world problem. More specifically than that, we develop affordable, innovative, and eco-friendly hardware and IoT products for consumers in underrepresented markets. And the first product that we're working on is what we call Orion Go, and which I want to talk to you guys about today. And so, as we know, we've seen this influx of an invasion, really, of electric scooters and personal vehicles, and bike shares coming to the space in the past, really 5 years, but most recently in the past, like 3 years. We really saw this explosion of personal ride sharing devices and vehicles. But typically, those the low-income community, students, and young professionals have a lack of access to reliable transportation for their daily commutes. And these companies, Lime, Bird, Uber, Lyft, etc., they can solve this, but they're typically too expensive, not readily accessible in those neighborhoods, and their typical riders are disproportionately middle to high-income individuals. And so I think this is a major problem. On a bigger scale, there is an estimated 100 million Americans that contribute to our GDP that make under $30,000 a year. And so for 100 million Americans, of the 150 million or so Americans that we have that can contribute to our GDP, it's very difficult for them to access reliable transportation for their daily commutes. And a lot of them really lose their jobs, or are not, or can't bring themselves up out of poverty just because they don't have access to reliable transportation. So just some quick facts. So why is this a good time? So as I just mentioned, a major portion uh, of our uh, of our economy. The people who contribute to our economy and our GDP are living in poverty, and 20% of those vehicles said that they had no access to a vehicle. And that makes it really difficult for them to get out of that situation. From a legal standpoint, Ohio specifically, which is where we plan to pilot, but states across the country have passed legislation that not only excludes e-bikes specifically from the definition of motor vehicles, but also just gives them somewhat of the free range to be in the cities and accessible by the individuals and residents of that city or of that state. And then also in a recent Wiser survey, we found that 60% of the 100 surveyees said that they would prefer to ride an e-bike over an e-scooter, and 67% of them would pay anywhere from $1 to $5 per ride. And then obviously using electric vehicles is just a lot more eco-friendly than using a vehicle for short distance travel. And so what makes our app different than Lime or Bird or any of our other competitors is we have what we call hot zones or virtual docks. So I'm sure you've seen these scooters laid, thrown out in the streets, sidewalks, maybe laying in a river somewhere, or just really not integrated into our cityscape at all. And I think they've kind of been a nuisance to a lot of people. And the way that these companies have approached their fleet management, I think using technology and our approach is going to be a lot more innovative and better. And so also going along with the hot zones, we have what we call point-based rewards. So pretty much as you interact with the app, it's a gamification side to it. As you ride, as you return the bikes to these hot zones, which is where they can only these bikes can only be unlocked and locked using geofencing technology within these hot zones. Users will gain points that will initially be for free rides, and then over time, we want to partner with small businesses to allow them to drive to give discounts that can help them drive sales and revenue for their business. And then also we have commuter plans that go from anywhere from $10 to $50 per year. So just a quick overview of the bike. It's a really cool and innovative bike. It's a very durable and high grade bike. Our manufacturer has been a bicycle manufacturer in China for 25 years, and it's only 30 minutes away from Beijing on a bullet train ride. And so, in terms of just management of the bikes and making sure that the quality and of the manufacturing is up to our standards and to America's standards, we have that access. But just some quick, features. So the top speed of the bike goes anywhere from 15 to 20 miles per hour, depending on the person, the weight of the person, and the incline. Typically, it has a 20-mile charge distance. It takes about 3 to 5 hours for a full charge from zero. And it also has a pedal assist system that basically just realizes when you're going up a hill or down a hill, the motor will either cut off or it will increase its ability to push you up the hill. So if you're in Cincinnati, it can get you up the Gilbert Hill or the hill in Gilbert. It will get you up Vine Street, and it will get you up most of the way on Ravine Street. I haven't tried to go all the way up, but it's honestly a very powerful bike, and I was really surprised to how it would got me all the way up Vine Street from the bottom of OTR within about 10 minutes. So outside of that, also the bike that we're going to be deploying has a lot of anti-theft functions. I know theft is going to be a big risk factor for us, and so all the wires are hidden. The wires that 98% of the wires are hidden. The wires that are exposed have non-abrasive or basically very thick cords that can't be cut easily. And then also we'll have a fleet management team that will be in charge of making sure that our devices are not being taken off the street or that they're going to be in areas where they will be accessible to other people. So these are just some quick pictures of what our current prototype looks like in the city, and you can see that the scooters are laying on the ground like they always are typically. And so these are just, like I said, some quick pictures. So in terms of market size, so this 2018 data, it said there were about 84 million trips on shared micromobility. That's e-bikes, station bikes or pedal bikes, and e-scooters. This market is growing tremendously. Still waiting for 2019 data to be released to the public, but pretty much we've seen about 150% year over year growth since 2017 for the adoption of shared micromobility. And by 2030, it's estimated through a McKinsey Future Mobility report that the global rideshare market will be about 600 billion. The U.S. is going to make up 50% of that at 300 billion, and then our goal is to obtain 3% of that market share by 2030. And so this is a very highly competitive space. Obviously, Lime, Bird, Lyft, Uber has just kind of jumped out. They've, no pun intended, but they kind of jumped out of the space and went more into the service space versus the ride share. And they're more of a service company than they are a ride sharing company. But Lime and Bird, they've raised a lot of capital and they have a lot of devices and a 2 to 3 year head start. But I think our approach with being dockless and being affordable, um, when I say affordable, the average scooter ride is about $3.50. The average Uber is a minimum of $5. Our bike will be $1 for the first 45 minutes, and it'll charge you a total of $6 if you don't have a commuter plan for 24-hour access. And then, like I said, our point-based rewards and just our hot zones. And so, like I said, I think our approach is a lot more innovative, unique, and just down to earth, as you can say, for our consumers and the people who will be using our devices. And so that brings me to our actual business model. And so once again, just going in on the uniqueness factor and our approach and our angle to enter into this market. We're going to actually start our ride share from a B2B perspective, being able to partner with corporations and institutions. They pay us a contractual fee, and then we provide them with access. We provide their employees, students, our residents with free access to use our bikes through a corporate login code, basically. And so, an individual, say that lives in an apartment building that has a partnership with us, they will be given a code for login. That apartment building will have a certain amount of accounts that is accessible. So from our accounts go anywhere from 50 to 500 plus. It's really about $10 per account. So for the 500 account corporation, that would be $5,000 per month. And so that's where we really look to focus. And because it's very difficult to be profitable off of rideshare, honestly. But I think it's because the approach that these companies are taking is really not focused on the 100 million Americans that really need this service, and two, it's not affordable enough for the mass amounts of people to have access. And so we're really taking what I would say is a Chinese approach to our business model outside of the B2B, but especially as we get to the B2C side, where we open it up to the complete public. In comparison, I was in Beijing when OFO, which is the first dockless ride-sharing company in the world, piloted their program. Our university, Beijing University of Technology, was actually one of the first pilot institutions and universities that they piloted at. So, me and my team, we understand this in the biggest market right now for rideshare, which is, China, from a very in-depth level and being users and consumers of that product. But the thing is, for the business model, is that they charge about less than 20 cents, maybe even less than that. I forget the actual transfer rate right now for what they charge. But because of that, they have obviously, China is scaled differently than America, but in terms of their population. But because because it's very affordable and accessible, a lot more people have access to it. And so really that's our approach, is to make it as affordable as possible. And we're going to subsidize a lot of that cost through our B2B program. Our bikes cost about $500 per bike. Really, it's $535 to get each bike here. And that's if we're shipping over a container full, and a container full is about 220 bikes. And so one corporation would buy 10 bikes basically at the $5,000 rate. And so our strategy is to focus on this corporate program, get as many bikes as we can on the ground here in the United States through our corporate pilot program, and then open that up in the cities that we have our pilot program active, which is looking like Columbus and Cincinnati out the gate. We would then open it up to the public rideshare. So really, that's our strategy from our B2B model. And so just an overview of our 5-year financials. So what you're seeing here, so we are not just a micromobility company like Lime or Bird. We are a consumer technology company, more like Apple or Samsung, where we plan to have multiple products in our ecosystem that are geared towards solving real world problems. So like I said, our very first product that we were working on was a smartphone for India. We still want to be in the mobile technology space. We're just really focused on the rideshare space right now because this is a real problem for hundreds of millions of Americans. Someone lost their job, not just someone, but probably hundreds of people lost their job today just because they couldn't get to work and they maybe live less than 5 miles away from work. And to me, that's a major problem. And this is how people remain in poverty. And I think if I can provide a solution, which I know we can, not only a solution, but an innovative and a cool and affordable solution that we can be successful. And so what you're seeing here from our 5-year performance stance is all of our products included and all the expenses all included and grouped into one. And so you can see from year one to year two, which year one is more, development and getting the ride share out. That's going to be the focus. And then we're also going to be doing individual sales for the bikes. So we're going to be selling the bikes direct to consumer as well. And I'll show you a little bit more about that in later slides. But so what you're seeing here is this up and to the right is from not just the ride share income and revenue, but all revenue that we expect to come into staying in the rideshare space and the micromobility space, but really in the ecosystem of mobile technology in general. How can we use and create products for consumers that can solve real world problems? And so really that's our focus and our vision and our just a quick insight to our financial landscape. And so as I spoke about, just some upcoming traction and our current traction and where we are. So like I said, we are going to be selling this bike individually as well. Orion Go is an app that will be for the individual bikes as well for the ride share. Our focus out the gate is we're going to be piloting this direct to consumer sales within the next week or so. We're just putting the final touches on our website to get the pre-orders out. And then we look to pilot our corporate pilot program for the ride sharing and deliver the very first bikes spring or summer of 2021, depending on our capital raise and then obviously the manufacturing. But typically it's going to take about 100 days from the point of payment to get the very first bikes on the ground. So also important, we've currently been working not an official partnership with DoorDash, but an official partnership, you can call it. But we have been contracting with delivery drivers to use our bike that we have currently, our electric bikes that we have currently in Cincinnati, to use our bikes to DoorDash. And so pretty much how this works is we provide them with the electric bike, we provide them with the bag, the helmet, and the mobile device to DoorDash. They go out and they deliver the food, and then we take 20% of their DoorDash fee minus tips. And so we pay them out 100% of their tips and take 20% of their DoorDash fee. This has been going on for a little bit longer than 2 weeks now from when I made this. This was started this in September. And we've done nearly about $3,000 to $4,000 in revenue just in that time between two drivers. So it's actually going pretty successful, but the idea for this is in the future, we would love to partner with a entity like DoorDash to where we could basically integrate their app into our Orion Go app, and a user would have the ability to either use the bike for rental and just riding, like a personal ride commute, or they would have the option to use our bikes for DoorDash. Or whatever food delivery service app service we would partner with in the future. So I think once again it's a very unique and down to earth and understanding the situation that we're going through. 40 million Americans are without a job, which means that they probably can't afford a car. And so the benefit in this case for DoorDash is more drivers. And the benefit for the environment is there's less drivers using cars. And it's just really been a unique approach, I think, to rideshare and understanding our market and our consumers. And so, in terms of an exit strategy, like I said, you can see that some of our competitors have raised hundreds of millions of dollars, and I just reposted on our IG that less than 3%, as you guys probably know, less than 3% of VC capital and investment every year goes to African American and Latinx founders or Black and Brown founders, and I understand that I'm working against history in that no African American founder has ever raised over $100 million for their tech company, and our competitors have raised hundreds of millions of dollars. I understand that, and I think that's why our approach is very much a hustle approach, and the understanding that someone's not going to invest out the gate hundreds of millions of dollars in us just because that's not the climate that we're currently in. And so this equity crowdfunding that we're going through with Wunderfund is very important to our success. And we look to raise 250K in this round or through our pre-seed. And then ultimately we need to raise $2 million to get us through the first 18 months. We'll break even if everything goes well, which we hope, within the first 6 months of operation, and then and then our goal is to be in 5 cities within that 18-month time period, which would be about 2,500 units or bikes on the ground throughout the United States. So, and then ultimately, this is a life project. I don't plan to sell this right now. I mean, I don't want to go ahead and say that we won't, but this is what I believe to be the next Apple or the next Samsung or the next Google. I think we are coming from that space. The university that we met this corporation or our company at, also Xiaomi, which is a major Chinese telecommunications and mobile technology company, was also founded at the same university. So we come from solid ground, and I know that my team and myself have the ability to be one of the most revolutionary and innovative companies in the 21st century, and that's really our goal. And so for that, our exit strategy in that case would be an IPO. Is what we would look to do, and really be that public face and that identity, for the 21st century. So really, that's Orion in a nutshell, and what we're looking to do. And I'm just really appreciative for your guys' time.